welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. We are going to be having some really interesting, cool, but very relatable topics. And if not, I mean, hopefully my topics can encourage you and you know somebody that's going through it. That would be awesome. And also, if you are not new and you have been watching, thanks for tuning in again. I really appreciate it. And any love, support, comments, don't forget, comment down below. And I would love some feedback. So, with that said, let's go to today's topic. Alrighty guys, so sorry about the change of hair. It has been raining like crazy here in Southern California, and we are also moving, so with the moving, it is fun because you get to move in the rain, but at the same time, the rain is not hair's best friend. So with that said, let's get started on our topic, which is losing a parent at a young age. I can very much relate to this because my real biological dad passed away when I was 5 years old. And I am now 27, so it's been quite a while. I personally feel like I've been through the grieving process, but knowing now and doing my research on it and kind of talking to other people who can relate as well, and even if they can't relate or if it's just different time, if they died at a young but older age, I guess you can say, I would say mine is really young, so there's some things that I will talk about my experience with it, but I know it's definitely probably more harder on older people now, or like if I was my age and I had lost a parent, it'd be completely different than what it was when I was 5, because honestly I remember bits and pieces, but not really most of it. So with that said, I will kind of explain to you what I know about mine, which is my biological dad. He died he had to have a liver transplant. From what I know, which I don't really know too much, I wish I did know more, but I guess you can say they were trying to protect me, but I don't really feel protected because now I feel like I'm kind of dealing with the emotional aspect of after everything and guessing and playing the guessing game. But with that said, so my dad passed from liver transplant failure, and from my memories, I remember him being there when I was little, but also being in the hospital a lot. I know he was in and out of the hospital quite a bit, and it just finally failed, I guess. I wish I knew a little bit more and had more clarity about it, but it is what it is, and it does suck, but I mean, it is what it is. So with that said, I did some research on it, and there's a few points that I felt that I could talk about, and maybe I could relate to you guys about it, or you guys can relate to me in any way, and I just want to be more motivational and more inspirational about this, because I know a lot of people deal with it and they go through it, and losing a parent definitely is not easy by no means, and it really sucks. So if I can relate to you, or you have any advice for me even too, comment down below and let me know what you think. And yeah, so let's get on to my first bullet point. Things that I have growing up being a young child and having one of my parents pass when I was younger, the first thing I would say is living with the what ifs. Like, I feel like every once in a while people will talk, or friends will talk, oh, I gotta do this with my dad, or this with my mom, or whatever the case is, and well, why can't you have a good relationship with the other one, or whatever the scenario kind of is. I feel like you always live with the what ifs. Like, people always sit there and they'll say stuff and you go, well, I wonder what if my dad passed away or didn't pass away, and like this could have been us, or we could have done this, or maybe it would have been different, or maybe I wouldn't have issues, or maybe I would have felt more secure growing up, or maybe I would have had more, I don't know, you can probably say maybe I would have had more courage in a sense than being so nervous and afraid or scared or anything, because I feel like when kids get to grow up with their dad, it's a sense of security and they love that. So for me, the what ifs are a huge toll on me, because I feel like I've always grown up asking myself, like, what if he was still alive? Would I be in this situation? But at the same time, I'm grateful for everything that had happened, because I am who I am today, and I get to help people, or I can relate to people and help them, or vice versa. People can help me, which is really awesome, and I get to meet awesome people and talk to people about it as well. So that is my first one. Okay, so for the second thing that kind of came to mind when I was thinking and doing research on this was, when you do lose a parent at a young age, you don't remember a lot, which is kind of weird, because a lot of people say, well, the first 5 years are the most important and stuff, but for me, I feel like the first 5 years, I did feel loved, but from what I can remember, it is kind of blurry, honestly. I don't really remember a lot, so it's nice to have those pictures, and you see the pictures, and I love the memories, but you never really knew like how exactly things were. So that was probably a hard part, and I feel like with people who are older and they kind of know what's going on, or they got to build those memories and remember the memories, having a parent pass after that is a lot more difficult and a lot harder on them, because they made memories with them. With me, I feel like I made the memories, but I can't remember them. So I feel like it would definitely be harder and more confusing. I think it's more confusing when it's younger, but when you're older, you can the grief is almost harder, and the mourning's almost harder. A lot of people tell me, oh, well, I'm sorry your dad passed, or I'm sorry, and I'm just like, honestly, it's very blurry. I don't even remember, but it's kind of crazy, some of the stuff that is coming up now in my life that has happened that relate to a parent passing when you're younger. So I'm glad to talk to you about that, but that'll come up in a different bullet point when I start stating the facts. So that is number 2. As growing up, you would sit there and be like, well, I missed out on that, is the school dances, or like, I know for Hispanic heritage, you do like a quinceañera or a Sweet 16. I didn't choose to do any of that, and I'm kind of glad, but at the same time, like, you're growing up and you constantly are reminded by going to friends' events or parties, and they have their father-daughter dance, or daughter and daddy dance at school. So stuff like that, it hits emotionally as you're growing up with having a parent that passed away young. But at the same time, like, you know, God put you in a place for a certain reason, and He won't give you a mountain tall enough to not overcome it. So that's kind of what pushed me through all those emotions when I did miss out on father-daughter dances, or I would try and find that father figure, or my stepdad was always there for me in my case, so that was nice, but we never went to those kind of dances or events. So that was definitely another hard part for me, would be not going or being involved in daughter-daddy stuff. I know for a lot of people, a huge aspect of losing their father before their weddings is a huge thing. I've had multiple friends whose fathers passed or mothers passed, but mostly fathers in this aspect, because a main thing would be having him walk you down the aisle. And I know that's a huge thing for many of us women and girls as growing up. You've always had that picture envisioned, and people always say, well, I can't wait for my dad to walk me down the aisle and all this stuff. And I think growing up knowing that I wasn't gonna have a dad walking me down the aisle kind of changed my aspect in the whole wedding thing. But if he was, here, I would love nothing more than that. So with that said, I know a lot of people, and being a hairdresser and hearing other people's stories, I feel like if you do have issues in any way, you really never know when your parents are gonna go. Or whoever you're with, your husband, your loved ones, your kids, like, you just never know. The world's crazy, life's crazy, you never know what's gonna happen, and just cherish literally every moment that you get, because if you can have those moments, embrace them and never let them go, because some people don't even get the opportunity to have them. I would say for me too, one of my huge things would be a sense of security. Growing up, honestly, I'm probably the most paranoid person ever. People think, oh no, you're such a rebel, you're such a go-getter, like you will go and you'll do anything. Yeah, it just depends. Sometimes I will, sometimes I actually get super paranoid, but I think growing up that just made me very observant, and I literally observe everything, like everything. You won't think I'm observing you, and I'm observing you. That's just the type of person I am. But I think that has to do with not having that sense of security growing up, because honestly, I kind of raised myself. Like, of course I had my mom and my stepdad there and my older siblings, but at the same time, like, here it goes again. What if my real dad was there? Like, what would have been different? Would I have felt more secure? Would I be more confident in myself now? Like, it's just a bunch of questions, but I am who I am, and I understand that, which is nice, and I hope if anybody else feels that way, know that you're not alone, and that there's other people that are probably thinking and going through the same thing you are, and it's just good to catch up about it and talk about it. And I hope that I can relate to some of you. But with that said, I feel like knowing and growing up with not a sense of security, it's just completely different and it's hard. But now having a husband and him coming from an awesome marriage from his parents has been a huge help on my behalf, and a lot of trust comes with that, and I can almost say like my dad is watching over me in this sense, and I can feel a lot of the same qualities of security, I guess you can say, within my husband. So I love that. Like, I love that. Okay, so with that said, now those are kind of my feelings and aspects and things that I'm always constantly thinking about growing up, and with having a parent that passed away young, that's just some of my train thoughts and what I go through on a daily, not daily, weekly, monthly, whenever it decides to pop up, kind of thing pops up. So now, going into statistics, I can never say the words right. I need to have my own dictionary. But going into some of the statistics and doing my research, it is insane what kids and adults go through losing a parent at a young age. And there is a lot of people that are going through the same thing. It just doesn't seem like it. Okay, so the first thing that I found that I thought was really interesting, and it'll be another topic later, but a lot of kids who've had their parents die at a young age or before 18 or even after, I would say there's no really limit, because I feel like even if you're a middle-aged person and you have a parent pass, you can almost go through the same stuff. But a lot of kids suffer from emotional disorders because of it. So I would say some of the things that I read up on, they were talking about when you grow up, you are more prone to be depressed, have really bad anxiety, have trouble in school, or just not having good grades, and just being emotionally confused. Because, I mean, for me, I'm still confused about the situation. So you don't, like, it's crazy to me personally, because I deal with some of that, And I will talk later in a video about that on a different Inspirational Friday, but it is completely true and it's crazy. So I feel for all of you for that, and for me, it's just mind-blowing. So another crazy statistic and thing that I saw online was, another mind-blowing thing is that there's a lot of kids that go through this. I want to say it said, yeah, hold on, let me get that. So it says 1.5 million kids lose their parents before the age of 15. I'm like, holy moly, like that is like insane to me to hear. 1.5 million, like, that's crazy. So I mean, and it's crazy because even like being a hairstylist and listening to other kids' stories or knowing that their parents passed away soon, it's crazy how you can relate, but at the same time, like every time it gets brought up for me, I feel like for me being so young, I love being able to help and relate to people and show them like you can still be a happy person, you can still light up somebody else's life, because there's been multiple times where people have struggled or came to me and talked to me about stuff, and it's nice to be able to kind of share my life with them and how I've dealt with it, and it helps them and it actually helps myself. So that statistic I thought was really insane and really crazy, but goes to show how common it really is. Okay, so those are some of the things that I've kind of always, I guess you can say, thought of growing up, and also got some kind of clarity with the statistics almost. And eventually one day we'll talk to somebody about it and get a little bit more into depth and detail with it, but that'll come along with a different video. And I hope I can help somebody in some aspect. If you have any questions or if you're going through the same thing and can relate, it would be nice to get to know you and vice versa. So I hope I inspired somebody, just knowing that even if you have something like this happen, you can still be a thriving and a happy person and move on with your life in a good way in their memory. Okay, so with that said, I am so happy that I can share my story and part of it, and I hope that I inspired somebody in some way, that even though you do lose a parent or you lose a parent at a young age, you can be a testimony for somebody else and you can still live a happy life. Huh, Preston? So we will see you for next Friday. Bye. Say bye, Pudgy.